This video is about 6 years of this. What is this? This is the imagery and the demonstration a person would use about their hamstring pain that they've had for 6 years. This is repeated every time they describe the scar tissue. This. Now once you repeat that plenty of times, you don't need to repeat it in your mind anymore because it's pretty much embedded in. Wire that with a little bit of stress and the body just automates it. And this is a video of how you reverse it. So many times people have a visual imagery of the physical tissue where they feel that pain, trying to work it out in their head, trying to develop a sense of what is going on internally inside of them. If you have a pain in your hand and it's a cut, you can see it, you can open the skin and have a good look inside your body. You've all done that. How bad is it? Does it need stitches? Doesn't it? You can see it. You can almost smell the blood sometimes. You can taste it. You can hear something that happened at the time, and you can touch. So your 5 senses can give you meaning. So you can interpret that, and generally if you're aware of that pathway, your senses, based on what you believe about it, can build a sense of planned recovery and anticipated recovery if you've got that pathway to compare with. I'll get better. It's a cut. I had one before. I know I'm going to be okay. I've got this reinforcement of my senses to confirm that. I've got a belief system that correlates with that. The stress response drops quite quick and the pain goes soon after. When you don't have those senses and somebody repeats this imagery, something like that, and then a physio, as in this case, this person pulled his hamstring, or he thought he had, it felt like a pulled hamstring, yet it didn't have the pattern, it would come and go. Well, pulled hamstrings are pulled and then they recover within about 3 months, like all tissue injuries. Now this pattern would come back. Now it was conditioned to when he played football, but football was this person's down button. A police officer, if you like, so he, quite an adrenaline job, comes with its pressures and stresses, and you've got to come down from that. And if you can't come down from that with a behaviour that you like to use to metabolise that, then those emotional charges stay from the day. So we always need something to balance out the stuff we choose for ourselves, but the stuff we choose for ourselves sometimes comes with extra stress that we haven't asked or at a time. And if you get an injury, then you can't balance that out, and that's frustrating and worrying. So you're trying to picture what's gone in the body, you're thinking it's a hamstring tear, and you show that to someone, they say, oh yeah, you've got some scar tissue. Yeah, some scar tissue, and the patient tells his friend, I've got a partner, I've got some scar tissue, and it's when I get that pain, it's scar tissue, and it comes on when I play football if I run too fast. So it starts to be encoded to the behaviour, running, football, which then presents fear on its return. It has an imagery that I use my hands again, you can see how many times it's been repeated in this short video. And then there's an emotional state that comes with that, that's fear of, I'll never get back to that, I'll never get my safety behaviour again, I'm frustrated by that, and that drives the emotional state that's invisible to the person presenting that scar tissue. They think it's the football, they think it's the hamstring, they believe it, and they give up on that activity. And this was somebody who had that pathway in place and it was coming for physio for something else. And these incidental findings are so interesting because the person's not expecting to change that. And because they were getting better with an injury that had come for that, fairly predictable, so there's a bit of trust and we can chat about pain and recovery times and stuff. And then he mentioned, oh, you have this old injury with scar tissue. And I was quite frank, he said, well, it healed within 3 months of the injury. Yeah, but why did I keep doing it? Keep re-injuring it? So you didn't. You just believed you did. And it's like almost a dog, confused, like where they tilt the head a bit. What? I said, I've had it for 6 years. I said, well, that's okay, because you'll have it for another 6 if you could believe the same thing. So kind of really challenged the belief. But I had a relationship with him, I could be frank, that wouldn't have worked on day one. We'd had a bit of a laugh and stuff like that before, over a few sessions. He said, well, isn't it scarred? I said, well, no, that's the imagery you're repeating around that belief. He said, yeah, but it hurts when I bend. I said, no, but you're anticipating it. I said, stand still, stand up, come off the bed. We stopped what we were doing for the treatment he was getting for the other situation. I said, let's stand off the bed for a second. And what I want you to do is think of that imagery. He went, yeah. I said, use your hands as well, reinforce it. So I must have done about 15 times now in this video, or whatever. He went, yeah. So and you'll feel it when you bend so far down. He went, yeah, absolutely. I said, okay, you're going to close your eyes. Just humour me. I want you to imagine bending forward, thinking of that imagery, tell me what you feel. And he stood still, closed his eyes, imagine bending forward, said, it hurts. He said, it hurts. I said, well, that's just your body repeating the patterns that your brain has told them. Once you've automated with it, stress chemicals present, the body doesn't want you to go to the same level of stress, so it recognises the cues of that particular neural pathway. And if that's movement or an imagery in your mind or a thought or the football pitch, you'll feel the pain quicker than there's any injury, because it doesn't want you to go to that point of overload in your life. And if you think about when the injury happened when you were playing football 6 years ago, you'd probably find there's something else in your life with uncertainty. You didn't have the information to deal with it and you weren't in control. And that's so distressing for us all, if it's extended over a period of time or it's a really high surge, that we run to our safety behaviour, and yours is football or physical, and that's not an unreasonable one to do, but you hit it so hard in that time of your life that the nervous system can't allow you to push too hard, because it wants you to resolve the emotional charge before you take on more chosen or intentional stress, if you like. You've got to deal with the stuff that's maybe unintentional and you're not in control of. You have to almost create a buffer in the system and deal with that, rather than just running away from it with more adrenaline. And he completely got it, and he bent forward and touched his toes without pain within about 5 to 10 minutes. It can be so crazy quick. And that, don't compare yourself to that, because they're not rare. I've seen them more and more as it happens, but just consider it. What imagery do you use around your pain? What do you think is there? And what reactive behaviours does that trigger? And if you could consider pausing that imagery and consider different reactions, maybe responses rather than reactions, you really can change the pain in a crazy and fantastic, liberating way. That it's a fascinating process to learn and go through. And it's almost going through the suffering. You've got to feel the fear again, you feel the imagery and kind of go towards it. But when you do it in your mind or you imagine it, well, there's no danger. You go towards it with movement and you feel it. Go to that point. Get good at that first and you'll be surprised at the gates that open for you.